CLIA 88 ushered in a new era in lab quality in the country. This is not only the 25th anniversary of CLIA, it's also COLA's 25th anniversary. For a quarter century, COLA has been an advocate for excellence in laboratory medicine, and during that time working with his partners at CMS, COLA has played a major role in making CLIA a success. As chairman of COLA's board of directors, I am really proud to have the chance to bestow COLA's highest award in person to you. The Perry A. Lambird Memorial Excellence in Medicine Award has been presented to 16 individuals over the last 20-plus years, all with national reputations for working to protect patient safety by promoting laboratory excellence. Our board has selected you as the 17th individual to receive that award. Y'all please join me in welcoming Senator Barbara Mikulski.
Well, good morning, everybody. As you can see, I have to kind of stand up here, and it happened like when I came to the Senate. When I came to the United States Senate 25 years ago, there was only one other woman, Senator Nancy Kassebaum of Kansas, a wonderful, outstanding senator and someone that I've developed a great friendship with, and she was petite as well. But most podiums were built for J. Rockefeller, Ted Kennedy, and so on. So, and when I went to, so I have this little stool that I have to stand on, and when I went to the Senate floor for the first time, they didn't have a podium for me, so they actually had to build one. Now, with 20 women in the Senate, podiums come in small, medium, large, and extra large. Anyway, I'm delighted to be here today, not so much to get the award, but to tell you how proud I am of you and all the wonderful work that you do every day in every way, contributing to saving lives in the United States of America. American medicine, and really medicine around the world, runs on the laboratory. It might start in a variety of other settings. It might start in a doctor's office. It might start in a primary care office. It might start at a health screening out in a community, or it might start on a battlefield. But ultimately, you cannot get any care without someone looking at laboratory results. And when they look at those laboratory results, they have to be accurate, and they have to be reliable, and they have to be transferable so that if necessary, a doctor in Utah can know the same records as the doctor in Maryland and talk, or one doctor in one country be able to talk to another doctor in another country. I love labs. I'm crazy about labs, and I love what labs do, from pap smears to blood sugar levels to cholesterol testing to prostate biopsies, kidney and liver tissue analysis, all of the wonderful things that you do that analyze a variety of aspects in our lives that then tell the clinician what is the best intervention to use at that time. What is fascinating to me is that the blood has a memory. Diabetes runs in our family, and the oldest person gets it. And I remember my mother, who was diagnosed as a diabetic when she was 40, and how she would go for her lab test. She would try to game the system. The day before she had to go to her lab, she would go on water and parsley or something so that the results would be lower. Well, then along came testing material. I remember when Mother got her first home testing, and it looked like a 9-inch TV set, and with 30% accuracy. And then on now to the fact that she could, if she were alive today, have a little meter in her home and be able to know that. And if you talk to me and my sisters, because we're in a prevention program, we know what our A1C is better than what we know our Social Security is, or each other's birthday, which we choose to forget from time to time. But we love the labs, and we know what they do. Yeah. And we love just, in fact, that how much we need to count on you. There was a point in my life when I wanted to be a lab technician. There was a point in my life when I wanted to be a scientist. Growing up so I could have been maybe in another day, in another way, if I had chosen a different path, that I would be sitting at this board today. When I was a little girl, 8 years old, my mother and father took me to see a wonderful movie about Madame Curie. It was during World War II. They wanted me to know about my Polish heritage, and Greer Garson played Madame Curie. For any of you who might remember Greer Garson and Walter Pidgeon, I walked out of that movie at age 8. I wanted to be a scientist. I wanted to be a chemist. I wanted to win the Nobel Prize, and I wanted to be in the movies, and because I thought Madame Curie did. But it so sparked my interest in science that I asked if I could have a chemistry set. The generosity of a great mother and father did that, and along the way, by the time I entered Mount St. Agnes College, I thought I was going to go into a career in science. I started out at Mount St. Agnes College in a field called medical technology. It was then a 5-year program condensed into 4. We had a great school at this Catholic women's college. But when I started, I found that I liked the idea of science, but I was really klutzy at science. I didn't do too well in chemistry, a lot of mercury down the tube. I remember in organic chemistry the rules of Emil Fischer's gas laws, and I'll tell you why I remember it. That gas takes the size and shape of its container. And during its recent shutdown, looking around the Senate, I thought, gas does take the size. What I found, though, was that I really didn't have the talent in science. That I loved it. Wanted to know everything I could about it, but the doing of science, the meticulous, accurate, patient way of doing it was not my thing. I found that I was a lot better at social science than at physical science. So I switched my major, went on to sociology, a career in social work, which then took me into advocacy, which brought me here today. But I know you need to know that as I've gone through my own journey in terms of my life's work, it has been science that's been, and a passion for it, that's been an underpinning of it all. And so in 1988, as a brand new United States Senator, when a man came to me because his wife had died because of a misread pap smear test, which was a false negative and therefore was presumed to be accurate, and when they redid it, she was already much longer along, that then I began involved in what then ultimately became the CLIA work. It was, I believe, that the best ideas come from the people. So I heard the father's story. We went on then, working on a bipartisan basis to hold those hearings. We saw that there were tremendous problems, that before CLIA, 35% of clinical labs had quality issues. Now, after CLIA, less than 5%. You have all these wonderful statistics up there, in which now there are 7,000 labs regulated. You have a private voluntary organization that stepped forward to do the regulatory structure, because what we wanted was safety and accuracy. We wanted to have regulation, but without strangulation. We knew that technology would change, technology would advance. If I go into one of the great labs in Maryland, I looked at the way they do cytology now. Cytology is so different than when we did CLIA, where one person had to go slide by slide in a very meticulous way. And now how technology can scan, and how you make higher and better use of the lab technicians that you have and the way they do it. Sure, people still pore over the microscope, but they're poring over lots of other kinds of things. And so what we wanted to do was have national quality standards for clinical labs. It caused a tremendous amount of uproar. We didn't get the regs written till 1991, after the law was passed. Why? Because there had been thousands and thousands of comments that had pulled in. There was pushback, shoved back, and so on, that somehow or another we were going to intrude, just like they're saying now, in a doctor's office, we were going to intrude in a lab. But what we wanted was safety and accuracy and interchangeability, so that no matter where you got a lab test from, and you were a clinician and you looked at it, you knew what that meant, and you knew that the lab in Utah met the same lab in Maryland as it did in Texas, and so on. And if you happen to be traveling, That doctor in Canada, Australia, or Poland would know what this was. So this is what we wanted to do. National clinical labs, and we wanted to make sure that the staff was proficient and prepared for the tests that they were going to do. Now it's 25 years later. Technology has come a long way, and it's been incredibly breakthroughs in terms of what technology can do. But no matter how great the technology is in laboratory testing is only as good as the people in the lab. And this is why I'm going to salute you. With the great pride that you have in your profession, your great desire for your own autonomy and clinical and for your prowess, you wanted to say, we know how to establish those standards and regulate ourselves. I think this has been a fantastic partnership. And this is why I wanted to come here today, which was not only to accept the award, because the award really should go to all of us. It should go to all of us, from that father who came to see me, to the Congress that worked on a bipartisan basis, to all of you who in your field stepped up to create a regulatory framework that accomplished its national objective, but left you free to be you, to be best at what you're best at and be best at what you're most needed for. And now, 25 years later, there is such confidence in the reliability and accuracy of the American laboratory system that I believe that it is the envy of the world. We have many challenges ahead of us. Some of them are fiscal, some of them are workforce, which I think these are great jobs for people to come into with great ways to earn a living. But I'll come back to where I began in 1988, working across the aisle, working across the dome. Each and every one of us can make a difference. You make a difference in the lives that you touch every day. And the laboratories that you oversee yourselves in this organization, that's a unique partnership with the United States government. But as each and every one of us can make a difference, when we work together, we can make change. There are many challenges ahead of us, but if we could put egos aside, put tension aside, put strife aside, and really think about what is it that we want to do. At the end of the day, every single one of us wants to save lives and do it in a way that is so cost-effective, we ultimately will save money. I could go through example after example, but I think that this 25 years is a retro now to say, look how far we've come. But let's look ahead to the next 25 years. Technology will change. I just got a briefing through military medicine of new things that they want to do with blood markers. That'll be stunning. Could be game changers. And it'll mean changes for you as well. But 25 years from now, we're going to look back, just as we said 25 years ago, seemed the world was one way. And I want to extend my hand to you in the most sincere way to say we want to work with you, and we can work together. And I believe that in that way, people need to begin to get confidence back in their government, confidence back that we can solve problems. And I think it starts with listening to each other and working with each other and practical, affordable, technologically sound ways to move. So thank you for being you. We can look back and know that because of what we all did together, there are people who are alive today. And that is really my own reward. And though I never got to be in the movies, and I never got to be a Madame Curie, I think it all turned out pretty good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you.